The clock struck midnight as I settled into the comforting embrace of my couch. A rare evening of solitude stretched out before me. My spouse was away on a business trip, leaving me to navigate the quiet echoes of our home alone. The usual hum of daily life had dwindled to a hushed symphony of creaks and shadows. As I indulged in the luxury of uninterrupted TV time, a distant thud echoed through the silence. The rational part of my mind dismissed it as the settling of an aging house, but a shiver ran down my spine nonetheless. The hollow stillness intensified, and the comforting glow of the television seemed feeble against the encroaching darkness. Shrugging off the uneasy feeling, I decided to immerse myself in a gripping novel, hoping the fictional world would provide a buffer against the eerie reality of being home alone. The gentle rustle of pages turned into an intimate dance with the characters, momentarily distracting me from the disconcerting symphony that played outside my refuge. As the night wore on, the unfamiliar sounds continued to weave through the silence. A faucet's subtle drip, the soft sigh of the wind against the window, each auditory nuance became an unsettling reminder of my solitary confinement. I cursed my overactive imagination, attributing the discomfort to the unfamiliarity of being the sole inhabitant of our once familiar abode. Attempting to quell my rising anxiety, I decided to retreat to the bedroom. The soft glow of the bedside lamp cast a warm halo in contrast to the darkness beyond. I wrapped myself in the cocoon of blankets, convincing myself that the palpable stillness was merely a byproduct of an overactive mind. Just as I began to drift into the fragile sanctuary of sleep, a sudden jolt shattered the serenity. The house seemed to exhale, and a series of metallic creaks reverberated through the walls. My heart raced as I grappled with the decision to investigate or dismiss the disturbance as the whims of an aging structure. Summoning a semblance of courage, I tiptoed down the hallway, each step magnified by the oppressive quiet. The source of the disturbance remained elusive, concealed within the enigmatic walls of our home. As I neared the kitchen, a cold draft whispered through the slightly ajar door, sending a shiver down my spine. The kitchen, once a haven of culinary creations, now presented itself as an alien landscape. Moonlight filtered through the curtains, casting elongated shadows that danced across the countertops. The metallic creaks persisted, leading my gaze to the refrigerator, a seemingly innocuous appliance that had become an unwitting antagonist in my solitary drama. Hesitant fingers brushed against the cold surface, and as I opened the door, a stale breath of frigid air escaped. My eyes widened in disbelief as the source of the nocturnal disturbances revealed itself. A bag of groceries, precariously placed on the top shelf, had succumbed to the laws of gravity. The ominous metallic creaks were merely the echoes of its descent, amplified by the stillness of the night. Relief washed over me, tinged with the realization of the absurdity of my fears. The house, once a bastion of familiarity, had transformed into a labyrinth of shadows and imagined terrors. With a rueful chuckle, I returned to the solitude of the bedroom, vowing to embrace the quiet echoes rather than let them dictate my unease. As the night resumed its silent vigil, I lay in the cocoon of blankets, the adrenaline-fueled tension gradually giving way to the rhythmic cadence of my own breath. The home, once a stage for eerie theatrics, settled into the familiar embrace of stillness. In the solitude, I found an unexpected resilience, an understanding that the true horror was not in the shadows, but in the echoes of our own apprehensions, magnified by the silence of being home alone. The night draped our house in an eerie stillness as I found myself alone, my parents away for the weekend. The once cozy home now seemed vast and unfamiliar, and an unsettling tension lurked in the corners like mischievous shadows. Little did I know, this night would unfold a darker tale, where the silence harbored not just echoes but a malevolence that sent shivers down my young spine. As the clock ticked towards bedtime, A faint scratching echoed from the attic, a sound that seemed to penetrate the very fabric of the house. I huddled under my blankets, convincing myself that it was just the playful antics of unseen creatures. Yet, a whisper of unease lingered, and the silence felt like a weight pressing down on me. The soft glow of the nightlight in my room offered little solace as I tried to distract myself with a cartoon on TV. The flickering images on the screen became eerie, casting shadows that danced like mischievous imps. Unbeknownst to me, the real fright was about to unfold within the walls of my own home. Suddenly, the power went out, plunging the house into complete darkness. My heart raced as I fumbled for my flashlight, its feeble glow revealing a distorted reflection in the mirror. The familiar contours of my home now seemed alien, and the silence intensified, settling like a thick fog around me. As my flashlight pierced through the darkness, the scratching in the attic became more pronounced, now accompanied by the eerie echo of footsteps. Fear gripped me, but I mustered the courage to investigate. Slowly ascending the creaky staircase, I felt like an adventurer stepping into the unknown. Opening the attic door, the darkness within seemed to pulse with secrets. Among forgotten belongings, a chilling sight awaited. A figure emerged, draped in tattered fabric. My breath caught as the intruder's eyes, devoid of warmth, met mine. The scratching and footsteps were not products of my imagination, but the signs of an unwelcome guest who had turned my home into their hideout. Panic surged as the intruder advanced, their intentions hidden in the darkness. Survival instincts kicked in, and a frenzied struggle ensued. Each attempt to break free was met with an unyielding force, and the shadows seemed to conspire against my small frame. In the chaotic struggle, I managed to escape, stumbling down the staircase with the unseen adversary in pursuit. The once familiar surroundings had transformed into a labyrinth of terror. The silence shattered into a symphony of dissonant echoes, the intruder's laughter, my frantic footsteps, and the rhythmic thud of my pounding heart. Outside, in the cool night air, I took a moment to catch my breath. As I looked back at the house, it stood as a haunting silhouette, a place where nightmares had come to life. In the aftermath, as the police arrived to investigate, the darkness that had infiltrated my home left an indelible mark on my young mind. The solitude, once a refuge, had become a realm of nightmares, a chilling reminder that, even in the innocent hush of our homes, malevolence can linger, waiting to shatter the illusion of safety. The silence draped our home in an eerie stillness as I found myself alone, my family off for a weekend escapade. The once familiar abode now seemed vast and unfamiliar, and an unsettling tension hung in the air like an ominous cloud. Little did I know, this night would unravel a sinister chapter, where the shadows held not just echoes but the ominous whispers of a life-threatening peril. As the clock inched towards midnight, an uncanny stillness pervaded the air. The usual symphony of household sounds had evaporated, leaving only the distant hum of the refrigerator and the rhythmic tick-tock of the clock. The quietude was shattered by a sudden jolt, a creak from the hallway, a sound that reverberated through the vacant rooms like a foreboding omen. My senses heightened, and the silence that enveloped me transformed into an oppressive force. Attempting to dismiss the unease, I nestled into the living room couch, seeking refuge in the comforting glow of the television. But the images on the screen became secondary to the uneasy feeling that clung to the air. The shadows seemed to dance with malevolence, casting distorted figures on the walls, and a chill crept down my spine. As I decided to retreat to the sanctity of my bedroom, a disconcerting realization dawned. The familiar click of the front door had been absent. Panic set in as I discovered the door ajar, a gateway left wide open to the looming threat that lurked in the periphery. The sanctity of my home had been violated, and the intruder's intentions remained an enigma in the darkness. Adrenaline surged as I cautiously navigated the dimly lit corridors, my ears attuned to the slightest disturbance. The silence had transformed into a menacing entity, concealing the intruder who had breached the fortress of my solitude. Survival instincts kicked in, urging me to retreat and call for help, but a gnawing fear propelled me forward. As I reached the kitchen, a shadow detached itself from the darkness, a figure clad in obsidian fabric, their face obscured. The air thickened with tension as our eyes locked, and the gravity of the life-threatening situation crystallized. The intruder brandished a weapon, a cold glint reflecting the terror that now unfolded within the walls of my own home. The battle for survival erupted in a chaotic symphony, a desperate struggle against an adversary whose motives were obscured by the shroud of darkness. The kitchen became an arena, each movement a calculated dance of evasion and retaliation. The life-threatening dance seemed to stretch into eternity, a relentless contest against the impending threat. In a surge of determination, I managed to break free, the taste of freedom mingling with the metallic tang of fear. A frenzied sprint led me to the sanctuary of my neighbor's house, where the walls seemed to offer a resolute shield against the life-threatening peril that had chased me from my own home. As the police arrived and the intruder vanished into the shadows, the reality of the life-threatening encounter lingered. The sanctuary of my home had become a battleground, and the echoes of the struggle reverberated through the once familiar corridors. The shadows, once benign, had concealed a menace that had nearly shattered the fragile boundary between life and the looming threat that lies in the tangled web of shadows.